platform for you judges and all of America again, I would save every single moment. And the second thing I tell people is that America's Got Talent turned my life completely upside down in the best possible way. Go back in time to a day, a month, a year. Now, everyone in the audience, grab your wallet, take a bill, any bill you want, and hold it over your head. Hand that to Simon, fold it in half. Simon, fold it again in half, please. Place it in the envelope. Are you thinking of 5 different people?
I am.
And I see them, 4 are your kids, and then 1 more, it's a man, he's on his knee. This is your engagement, am I right?
Yes.
Grab your phone.
I do.
Please go to the calculator. What I'd like you to do is you're going to type in the day, the month, and then the year. Alicia, I saw you smile. I saw you relive this moment. What is the name in mind?
Misty.
Dead on. What if we could combine 2 moments? Heidi, hit plus. Alicia, what I'd like you to do is type in the day, the month, and then the 4-digit year. Go ahead, please. Heidi,
Yes.
tell me, what are your 2 moments combined?
5,
5,
8,
8,
2,
2.
0, 9, 0, 6, 1.
Howie, you have a moment that you're focused on. What is the day? 16th. The month? March. The year? 80. Heidi,
Yes.
let's combine your 3 moments. It equals. Okay, so instead of even holding it throughout, open up that bill. Every bill is printed with a unique serial number. Please read me that number. 7, 4, 2, 1, 0. Yes? 1. No! Remember what I told you, the 2 things I tell everybody. America's Got Talent turned my life completely upside down. And I want to savor every moment. I promised myself that if I ever had the chance to perform for you judges in all of America again, I would savor every single moment. And the second thing I tell people is that America's Got Talent turned my life completely upside down in the best possible way. Go back in time to a day, a month, a year. Now, everyone in the audience,
Put your hands in the air.
Now you show up. We wish you were not getting shot
I
at.
said hands.
I'm a Detroit police officer. My badge is in my pocket.
Don't reach for it.
I've been a cop for 30 years. I've been black the whole night long. Trust me, I know better.
You know, this is very embarrassing. Y'all are the Lego cops. Detective Foley, you can give me tagging or you can charge.
Oh, I'm definitely charging you. 2 counts of reckless endangerment.
Misspent youth. Then I'd like to call my lord, Chief John Taggart.
Oh, I missed you, brother.
I got a call from my old friend Billy.
This case has him all twisted up. Now he's got Janie involved. Your daughter's defending a goddamn cop kid.
She took out a kid named Enriquez, killed an undercover named Copeland.
Your daughter claims Copeland was third.
Copeland was one of mine's clone. Sorry, the job asked a lot, doesn't
He
it?
didn't do it.
Well, how can you be so sure?
Because he's just a kid who got hooked into dealing cocaine for his uncle.
Who's the uncle?
Some big dealer on the east side named Chelino.
Just don't make no sense. If Copeland worked for Chelino running dope, why would Chelino kill him?
That's Copeland's car.
Somebody installed a surveillance camera. SD card is missing.
There's nothing in the police report about a camera in the car.
Put your hands in the air.
Now you show up. We wish you were not getting shot
I
at.
said
Follow.
Clyden, tell me why you tried to kill Bortus.
Because I wish to divorce him.
Dig deeper than that. How do you feel about Bortus?
I feel Boris does not wish to be with me. That he does not find me attractive anymore.
Bortus, how would you like to respond to what Clyden is saying?
I still find Clyden attractive, but I have been working long hours lately, and I am tired when I return to our quarters.
Okay, that's reasonable. Clyden, do you understand and accept Bortus's explanation?
I suppose I do. Yes.
Good. Now we're going to try a little exercise I call I statements. Bortus, face Clyden and look him in the eyes and tell him that you are still attracted to him. And use I and your names as much as possible.
Clyden, I, Bortus, am still attracted to you, Clyden.
Good. Now, Clyden, I will...
All right, Chloe, do the carpets match the drapes?
You're really getting to know a woman, huh?
Why on earth would you think I had carpets?
Oh, floor tiling.
Floor tiling.
Floor tiling, you know.
Notoriously, that's called hardwood floors. Floor tiling's good.
Marbling.
Hardwood floors are smoother. The tiling has the little divots.
She's got marble floors.
Like, yeah, no carpets. If I did, then again, I dye this. It's not my natural color. So
No. You'd have
I'd
different
have to dye it
color
down there
pubic hair.
as well.
Yeah.
And if I were to have carpet, I would dye it. Yes,
Dye it.
of course. Okay.
All right, Chloe.
I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10. Guess it, and you die first. Go!
Okay. 56.
Halt, fellow robot! Hey, Red! You're just in time to join the hostage situation! Which side you want to be on? The side that kicks your twisted metal ass.
Fry, stay back. He's too powerful.
Negative, bossy meat creature. I know now what my primary function is. I am a battle droid, sworn to protect the weak from crazy robots. Let's see how much of a robot you really are! Oh! No knife can penetrate my skintanium armor. Help! Help! He is a battle droid! Somebody help me! Mommy! I'm thinking of a number between...
You okay?
You put shave cream in my donut?
No, it must have just gone bad. Donuts don't go bad.
This means war.
Officers Reagan and Jacob.
Sarge?
I want to thank you for volunteering for the NYP.
What about this? Can't get any worse than expired tuna. Isn't that a bit much? I already did a human last year's weight off it.
Now you get to open the last gift.
Oh, what on earth is this?
It used to be ranch dressing 20 years ago. No! You there! What's the worst expired food item you've got?
Benson, do you really want to go through with this?
Wow, these gloves are great. Do you really think so? Yeah, they're made of my old underwear. I didn't want to retire at 65 anyway. Pleasure doing business with you.
Which one should we give him?
I don't know which one's worse. All of them. All of them. Put all of them together. Now! Happy white elephant, Benson. Enjoy opening that gift.
What about this? Can't get any worse than expired tuna. Isn't that a bit much? You're not coming in.
I want my laptop back. Son of a bitch, I will burn this place down. You called the cops?
Yeah, I called the cops.
What's going on here?
Crazy here won't take a hike.
There's a thief in there. He stole my laptop. Right there. My laptop sends out a signal. The signal goes to my map apps.
Unless this computer here is attached to a suicide bomber, we take the complaint and then you go on your merry way.
It's a crime right here.
No, come on, I'll take your complaint.
I used remote access to put a message on the screen.
Send another message. Tell him you really need the computer back. You're willing to pay $500 cash, no questions asked.
I'm not paying him for my own computer.
Nice to meet you. We'll be there in Boston.
I like the way this man thinks.
Whose idea was the orange hat? Some easier to flirt. Guess that's a go. Yeah, look at this kid. Point spreads. Are you a bookie, Mr. Dexter? Is that why you needed this back? It's not mine. You. Possession of stolen property, and you. Promoting gambling. Good felonies.
You're not coming in.
I want my laptop back.
All right.
What's up with your family?
Hey guys, I need you to move these trucks. You're blocking our exit path.
No, you don't. Looks to me like you're intentionally blocking us so you can be first on the scene again. Oh.
Hey, you know, maybe you should stop worrying about getting your picture in the paper and focus more on saving lives.
Want to talk to them, Fry?
Will someone please go up and tell Connor that dinner's ready?
Connor's a little busy right now.
Busy with what?
Working on music with that girl.
She's here?
Yeah.
They've been up there a while. What do you think they're doing?
Well, they could be hiding the body.
Amanda. They're probably just hanging out. I never would have gone to a boy's room on a first date.
He's 26.
Did you ever have the talk with him?
Why would I?
Because you're his father.
And you're his mother. There ain't no rules. She ever had to talk with you?
No. I most certainly did.
Oh, like when you said keep your knees together till the honeymoon?
Not my fault you didn't listen.
She didn't listen either.
Jim!
Mrs. McAllister, you little floozy.
Push me!
Yeah, here you go.
What's so funny? You and that female babysitter are never going to connect.
What are you talking about?
What? No! I will not ask this woman for her phone number.
Huh?
She's obviously married.
Did you hear that? Who would do such a thing? What's going on?
Hey, buddy, you trying to pick up my wife?
Look, I never go after your wife, honest.
So now my wife isn't good enough?
Come on!
Can this thing go any faster?
I know a way to go faster.
Well, then hurry up!
My pleasure.
What? No! Stop this at once!
You've been trying to get between me and Mordecai. Well, out you go.
No, hold it in! I'm the victim here!
He totally tricked Thomas into thinking we were going to drop him.
When I tell my daddy what you've done, he'll torture your souls for eternity! What the? All I'm doing this to is a full-time sitter. Push me!
I called animal control because this lady kept letting her dog crap in my yard, and they just laughed. So I followed her home and bought her house in Atlas Earth. Now, her land is generating me cash back all day, every day. Take that, lady. I called animal control because this lady kept letting her dog crap in my yard, and they just laughed. So I followed her home and bought her house in Atlas Earth. Now, her land is generating me cash back all day, every day. Take that, lady. I called animal control because this lady kept letting her dog crap in my yard, and they just laughed. So I followed her home and bought her house in Atlas Earth. Now, her land is generating me cash back all day, every day. Take that, lady. I called animal control because this lady kept letting her dog crap in my yard, and they just laughed. So I followed her home and bought her house in Atlas Earth. Now, her land is generating me cash back all day, every day. Take that, lady. I called animal control because this lady kept letting her dog crap in my yard, and they just laughed. So I followed her home and bought her house in Atlas Earth. Now, her land is generating me cash back all day, every day. Take that, lady. I called animal control because this lady kept letting her dog crap in my yard, and they just laughed. So I followed her home and bought her house in Atlas Earth. Now, her land is generating me cash back all day, every day. Take that, lady. I called animal control because this lady kept letting her dog crap in my yard, and they just laughed. So I followed her home and bought her house in Atlas Earth. Now, her land is generating me cash back all day, every day. Take that, lady. I called animal control because this lady kept letting her dog crap in my yard, and they just laughed. So I followed her home and bought her house in Atlas Earth. Now, her land is generating me cash back all day, every day. Take that, lady. I called animal control because this lady kept letting her dog crap in my yard, and they just laughed. So I followed her home and bought her house in Atlas Earth. Now, her land is generating
discharged, I was pretty comfortable, even after a nasty divorce. After a decade of this, I decided to set down roots in a small town, since it'd be nice and quiet. By this point, I was tired of always working on other people's cars, and wanted to devote time to working on my car. I bought a small house and saw a help wanted sign at a local lube shop. I figured it'd be simple work for me, and something to cover my few expenses. I grabbed an application from the office, getting all kinds of looks from the townies. By the way, I'm 6'3", and since I discharged from the military, I stopped cutting my hair and shaving, and I had one full sleep. Needless to say, most people cross the street instead of walking past me. When I went to turn in my application, Sue, the bookkeeper, asked me a couple of questions, and she noticed that I said that I was a veteran on my application. Later that day, Sue calls me and asks me if I could come back in to meet the owner, Peter. I show up, and Peter's eyes bulge at first sight of me. But we get to chatting, and my southern charm wins him over. He tossed me a calendar that he had made of his car collection and asked me to name the ones that I recognized. He was impressed that I knew so much, and we chatted cars for a bit. He offered me the position and explained that I'd be paid $100 per day, and I would work Monday through Saturday, 8 to 6, no overtime. But I'd get a full day's pay even if we closed shop early for some reason, and I should eat whenever I could. I'd be off every Sunday, and I'd get one extra day during the week. It was an awesome start, and I worked maybe a year with no issues. Peter asked me if I could help him out by being a relief worker for his other lube shops in neighboring towns. He says he'll give me $20 every day for travel, and basically I'd be covering so guys could take days off at the other stores. I agreed and did this for about a year. Then, disaster strikes. Peter meets Karen and falls madly in love. In the span of a month, they're married, and he starts supporting her and her together problem. This is when all the problems start. One week, I noticed my paycheck was only $250, and I ask about it. Bookkeeper Sue tells me that apparently there have been some changes. I should really speak to Peter about it. Sure, no problem. I call up Peter and ask him to talk about some things. He shows up with Karen in tow, and when I asked why my pay was short, he tells me it was because of the bad weather and us closing early affected the business. I would have let it go at that because Peter was a nice guy, but Karen decided to speak. It isn't very fair to us to have to pay you for a full day if you don't work the full 10 hours. I said that would be true if I wasn't on a negotiated day rate, and if I get paid for each day instead of working hourly, that's why I don't get paid 19 hours of overtime each week. Karen claimed that's not how it works anymore from now on. I'd be paid for the hours I work and nothing else. Okay, whatever you say, Karen. Fast forward to the next week. We had a week's worth of very busy days where we were open a couple hours later than normal to finish up with waiting customers. Also, I gave up one of my days off to cover for a sick coworker. So, with what should have easily been over an $800 paycheck was only $600, I had some questions. I called Peter and asked him what was going on and why I only got paid $600. And he said, well, that's what we agreed on, $100 a day. I looked at him blankly and asked if he forgot about last week, and he just said, it is what it is. Okay, so at this point, I'm aggravated, and that's when Karen walks up and asks, so, what is Moby complaining about now? I look at her coldly and say, well, I worked 80 hours last week, and y'all only paid me $600. She looks at me and says, you're contracted labor, and you agreed to $100 per day. So why did we pay you more than that? I look at Peter and ask, is this how it is? And he just said, you heard the lady. I went home and convinced myself that I was only working to cover my few living expenses anyway. The job isn't that hard. The only other things I could do in this small town would have been assembling sheds or swinging chickens at a chicken plate. The next week, one of the guys I work with is getting yelled at in front of customers by Karen about what she claims is an OSHA violation. She claims that as part owner of the company, it's her responsibility to ensure that all OSHA regulations are met, and his apparent violation was him wearing tinted safety glasses. Somehow, I attracted Karen's attention and she said, you got something to say, you P-word? And I just kept walking. I told Sue that she needed to have a long talk with Peter before Karen's mouth wrote checks that he would have to cash. And she said, I just keep the books, don't involve me. So this behavior goes on another year, and finally I'm at my limits. On the day that I started my malicious compliance, I was in a very bad mood. woken up to news that a good friend of mine who was responsible for me surviving being blown up in Iraq was taken out by a drunk driver. Not wanting to deal with anyone, I tell the shop that I'll be working pit all day and to just let me be. These guys have been working with me a few years and know something is up. Peter and Karen shows up and she storms into the pit and screams, "Peter, come look at this mess." I have no idea what she's talking about because I always kept the pit spotless and would clean as I worked, and a lot of others would also clean at the end of the day. Peter looks around and talks to me like he's talking to a teenager. "Clean up this pigsty." I shake my head and say, "Today is not the day, Peter. Move on and take her with you." This apparently infuriated Karen, who of course thought that it was the utmost disrespect of her and Peter, and he tells me if I don't like it, I'm free to leave, so I left. The next day, Peter calls me and asks me to swing by the main store on my way home. I think he's going to apologize about the day before. Figured out one of the other guys might have told him why I was so on edge. No, that was not what it was about. Peter was calling me to inform me that for the next 6 months, I would be on a probation period for my actions. And for these 6 months, I would only be paid $50 a day. And I wouldn't receive the normal $20 a day that I receive for driving to the other shops. I ask if he's serious about this, and if he has seriously considered what he was doing. This is when Peter let his true colors shine. He tells me I'm lucky I wasn't fired for my constant disrespect towards him and the co-owner Karen. How, if he didn't pity me for being a struggled, disabled veteran, he would have fired me a long time ago. Something inside of me snapped, and I just started laughing. He asked me what I thought was so funny, and I stood to my full height, stepped on him like a drill sergeant about to give him wall-to-wall counseling and say, "You should reconsider your life choices and who you choose to go to business with." Peter then says, "What are you gonna do, sue me or something? Go ahead if you think you can afford to with what you get from the VA, like $1,000 a month. I know how bad you need this job." That wasn't my plan originally, but it kicked in my malicious compliance, and I'll always be a soldier who goes to war. That day, I called a labor lawyer, paid the $3,000 retainer, and started my lawsuit for an unsafe work environment, unpaid overtime, and minimum wage violations. All the while, I was continuing to work for him. It was glorious, but still not enough. It took all 6 months of my probation for the lawyer to get the paperwork together and file. After everything was ready, my lawyer filed the paperwork, and Peter and Karen were served at the main store while I was working. When they read that I was suing them, Karen and Peter flipped. Peter shouts, "I should kick your butt, you ungrateful piece of garbage." And Karen screams, "You're effing fired, you pussy. I bet you weren't even really in the military." The process server recorded everything and gave it to my lawyer, who added to the lawsuit unlawful termination because it's illegal to fire an employee because they're suing you. The next day, I opened up my own lube shop car wash combo and started recruiting my former coworkers at higher pay plus commission. They also wanted to jump in on the lawsuit, and my lawyer was more than happy to add them to it. So 2 years down the road, after subpoenas to get security footage from the shops, the book's going back 5 years, and sworn testimonies, we go to a meditation to settle. They already easily and that didn't even cover the unpaid overtime. We declined, and our sent in by the IRS. Peter held each lube shop as its own individual LLC, each with its own tax item. A smart move to file for a tax credit for employing a veteran at each of the 6 shops. In their filing, they claimed that they employed a veteran. Me, as a full-time employee working a minimum of 36 hours a week at $12 an hour. At the next mediation, my lawyer presented the report. After a quick 20-minute discussion, Peter and Karen came back and agreed to settle our request of $400,000 in unpaid overtime to be split in all 15 weeks, plus a personal settlement for the unlawful termination suit of $20K for each shop that I was listed as an employee at, as well as unpaid wages for the 6 months that I was paid $5 an hour. Their only demand was that we all agreed to a gag order so that nothing would leave the mediator's table. Of course we signed and we took our paychecks, but somehow their tax paperwork made its way to just the right person at the IRS, and they decided to audit tribunal in a major city as a kind of bailiff. For those not knowing what that is, think a courtroom like you'd see on TV, but with less formality and an adjudicator instead of a judge. They functionally are the same thing to landlords and tenants, but they definitely aren't the same thing. This place exclusively deals with landlord and tenant disputes. For 2 years, I worked at the rental housing tribunal. It was early in my time in security, and I was 18 to 20 years old. The sheer number of cases I sat through was beyond my ability to count. I saw everything there was to see. No one was capable of surprising me with the story, because I've seen it all. One side duty of mine was to ensure that all parties had copies of all evidence being presented. I did a lot of photocopying, and always read and inspected everything I copied to ensure that nothing got cut off or made illegible. Skip forward almost a decade. I left the city, and I'm in a fairly large town in the same province, which has the same tenant laws. A different person in the rental company started overseeing this region. One day, suddenly, we get a summons to the rental housing tribunal on the 2nd of the month for failure to pay rent. This doesn't actually lead to a case because we paid the same day. But now we have to pay the application fee the landlord paid in order to serve the summons. I complained to the neighbor, who was also the superintendent, and I eventually heard back that their contact at the company was now demanding first of the month payments, no exceptions. Well, that really didn't work for us, so we probably had to pay that fee 15 to 20 times over the next 2 years. I could have gone to tribunal over it, but we were technically without a leg to stand on, and I knew it. Maybe if I went enough times, I could ding them for harassment, but I don't have time for that, and my roommates didn't care. After being split between us, the fee wasn't enough of a deterrent to change our behavior, so we accepted it. If this was the only issue, there wouldn't be much of a story though. At the same time the rent leeway vanished, so did mandatory maintenance. We suffered through it. We were all working too many hours at terrible pay to be able to actually do anything about it. We adapted. But after 2 years, it broke. Everyone but me up and moved out for various reasons within a 4-month period. I had been saving up quite a while, and I was able to quit my job without having to immediately get another, so I suddenly had a lot of time. I didn't want to stay and pay the rent by myself, or have to find roommates I could live with. And with my experience at the tribunal, I knew I had the landlord by the balls. So, I went after them. I stopped paying rent. Annoyingly, I didn't get a summons on the first month, but I did on the second. So, I went. With a meticulously documented plethora of evidence of failure to maintain the property and entering the property without formal notice. I had a copy for the landlord and a copy for the adjudicator. I knew from experience that technically you're supposed to give the other party the evidence before the tribunal, but I also knew about the leeway that the adjudicator gives to those who represent themselves. So I didn't give the landlord the evidence until our case came up. It was 100% a total ambush. They argued they were ambushed, but the adjudicator just dismissed the case, dressed me down a little, and told me to file my own summons as I should have done. This was the petty revenge part of my revenge. The landlord and lawyer drove 3 hours to get there for nothing. Worse than that, this has never been the case. I asked him to withdraw the email and explained again the reasons that it was not necessary. He refused, saying his decision was final and that it will not be changed. He's not getting sued for something like this, and he literally walked away from his desk. Since his email went out, there have been a lot of snide comments like, "Oh, I would love a peanut butter sandwich, but thanks to you-know-who, I can't. All these people with made-up allergies looking for attention." And "Here comes the fun police" when I walk past. It's been a month, and it's escalating.
Let's get fiscal. Lesson 2, credit card combat. Getting your finances together? Where to bank for your money with Credit Karma today for a stronger tomorrow. Confings help against generic advice and one-size-fits-all recommendations. Gathers offers from trusted partners helping you quickly.
It's been a month, and it's escalating. Every day this week, I've come into many Snickers bars lined up along my keyboard. Everyone denies responsibility. I've tried to just laugh it off, but it's starting to really affect me. The change of department is a promotion, and I was so excited to learn and develop new skills. But I want nothing more than to go slinking back to my old position where the staff were lovely. I'm worried if I do ask to transfer back to my original department and pay grade, I'll be passed over for future promotions for being flaky and unreliable. Is it even possible to apply for a demotion? What can I do? Then, 2 months later, OP posted an update. I did approach HR, who advised me to speak to my boss if I felt that I was being bullied. Obviously, that wasn't feasible, as the boss was fully aware of what's going on. I scheduled a meeting with the head of site, who was second in command to the CEO, and laid out everything that had been happening. The bullying, but also the toxic environment. He promised me the situation would be investigated and to log every single incident in an email to him personally. I felt incredibly stupid having to send email after email listing the many incidents that occurred. But I logged everything. He came in personally one morning to catch the person going nuts on my desk. She was fired instantly. It was the boss's right-hand woman who believed that she should have gotten a promotion, not me. And this was her attempt to make me leave. The boss was suspended pending investigation. It turns out that for the last 4 years, he hadn't been doing any paperwork. During the investigation, they also looked at the staff turnover, and there have been numerous accusations of bullying, which have been ignored, and a high number of staff have quit. The boss resigned last week before they could fire her, and I know it's unfair, but I'm absolutely thrilled. It's been hard work making changes within the department. There's been some pushback, and major changes have needed to be made. 2 staff have quit because they now actually need to perform. But we have 2 staff from the departments, and the manager after all of them. The head of site has been incredibly helpful, which I didn't expect. He apologized and acknowledged that this should have been picked up yesterday, and assured me that going forward, the business would be putting more measures in place to ensure that it can't happen again. Most of the people in this story sound so stupid. The boss obviously is incompetent. Then Obi looks to HR and is like, "Hey, my boss isn't helping me." And HR's like, "Try talking to your boss about it." HR clearly didn't want to do any work. They just kicked the can. Expert usage on r/escort. I'm struggling to rebuild myself after my ex-fiance left me. It seems to said that he cared about me deeply, but that the spark in our relationship had died, and that he tried to convince himself he could live without that spark, but ultimately decided that he couldn't. He said that I'd done nothing wrong, and in fact was the perfect partner, but that didn't change the fact that he couldn't shake this nagging feeling that I wasn't the one for him. He said that he didn't want to hurt me, but that he couldn't condemn himself to a lifetime of settling for someone who wasn't his dream. Even though he did know his dream existed. He said that he was sorry, but I don't think I said a single word as he was telling me all this, because I just felt so utterly shocked and blindsided. I just stood there, staring and listening and crying silently. All I could think was something like, I just left while they were packing because I couldn't stand to be there. I felt so shocked and numb and traumatized and tired that I didn't even cry much. I couldn't really process what was happening as I went through the motions of moving out and explaining the situation to my family. When I finally moved into my new place and sat alone with my boxes, I completely broke down. I couldn't stop crying and dry heaving. I ended up using 5 vacation days to take off a week of work, which really irked my manager. I could not get out of bed. I barely ate, living off this old tub of peanut butter. I looked through all our old pictures and tried to figure out where it all went wrong. Then, for 4 months, I tried my best to move on. I deleted all my social media apps so I wouldn't have to see them. I dove into work. I ramped up my hobbies. I exercised to keep my mind occupied. I met with friends and family and pretended everything was okay. I started going to my therapist again, which helped a bit. I finally thought that I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. Then, a month ago, I ran into a mutual friend from college. She said it was really sad to see that we weren't together anymore, and surprised to see how he'd moved on so fast. I told her I wasn't keeping up with him anymore, but that I was doing okay. When I got home, even though I knew it was a terrible idea, I re-downloaded Instagram and went to his profile. His latest picture was him at his cousin's wedding with his arm around a gorgeous girl. All the old pictures of him and I were gone from his profile. Again, I knew it was a terrible, self-destructive idea, but I went to the girl's profile and Googled her. She is literally a younger, smarter, prettier, and better version of myself. We both studied at the same university, but she completed a prestigious program that I was rejected from. We both had green eyes and brown hair, but she is far prettier and legitimately looks like a model. We're both thin and fit, but she has an amazing hourglass figure and looks far more stylish than me and has tens of thousands of followers, even though she's not an influencer or whatnot. In fact, we both work at the same company. I'm pretty sure my ex met her through work, but she landed a job in a prestigious division right out of undergrad and likely makes more money than me. She's an improved version of me, 7 years younger. And the love of my life is dating her. For the past month, I've been spiraling. I can't stop stalking my ex-fiance and this girl. I look at her Instagram every day and torture myself with her gorgeous pictures. She's posted a dozen pictures with my ex over the past few months, and he looks so happy, healthy, and fit. They've gone on trips together. He's brought her to his hometown, and he's even posted a picture of them with a mushy caption, which he never did when we were together. I have no evidence, and I don't think my ex would do this, but I now suspect that he was interested in her while my behavior is deleted my Instagram and told myself that I'm not going to do this anymore, only to wake up the next day and re-download the app and do it again. My therapist has been trying to help, but I just cannot move past this. I'm stuck in this mental loop of self-loathing and self-pity. This crazy mix of extreme sadness and latent anger. I feel so incredibly low. Worthless, used up, discarded, and suddenly so incredibly old. I know that comparison is the thief of joy. I know that I'm objectively still young enough to move on. It is a highlight reel, and the relationship may not be perfect. I know that this girl has done nothing wrong to me. I know that my ex deserves to find his dream, but none of this knowledge helps soften the fact that I thought that by this time this year, I would be pregnant with the love of my life. And instead, I'm alone, and he's found someone better. Then, 3 months later, Opie posts an update. The night I made that post, I finally blocked my ex-fiance and his girlfriend on Instagram. As many of you suggested, I think that actually verbalizing how obsessive and masochistic my behavior was sort of made me all inside.
Nicotine addiction is no joke. You really need your support system.
Really compassionate, though also shocked that I had been hiding my dark feelings so well. And it was like I'd instantly rebuilt my support network. I didn't realize how emotionally isolated I'd become until I was able to connect with a few of my other friends, and I took the initiative to finally make fun plans. Getting out of the house to enjoy brunches, hikes, and shows with my friends over the past few months has been incredibly beneficial for my mental health. Just being in new environments and focusing on people other than my ex was therapeutic, even for someone who tends towards introversion like myself. Another positive my ex-fiance and his girlfriend. I didn't think that would be possible since the job market in my field is not great at the moment, but I became actively searching for other positions. I brushed up my resume, filled out a couple applications, and even surprisingly secured an interview. Then, out of the blue, someone above me in my division quit to join a competitor. The senior managers were quite eager to fill this role quickly, so they decided to go with an internal hire. oldest testament that you should never end your own life, because when you're at your rock bottom, the only place to go is up. That was r/best of Redditor updates. And if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also,
tired of waiting for payday? The Earn An app gets you paid as you work. You can get up to $150 per day with a max of $750 between paydays with no interest and no credit checks. So whether you need cash for bills and groceries today or you're planning for tomorrow, Earn In helps you get the most out of every day. It's your pay, your way. Because let's face it, life is full of surprises. Download Earn In and make any day payday.
r/best of Redditor updates, where we have an actual villain origin story. Our next Reddit post is from r/legal advice, and the title is, "What crimes did my wife commit?" My wife came to me on Friday and asked if I had spoken to our daughter recently. I told her I hadn't, but asked why she wanted to know. She said, "I got a phone call from our daughter, and she's threatening to sue us for money, her clothes, and the car." I asked my wife what money our daughter is thinking of suing us for, and my wife said that she moved $4,500 from my daughter's checking account into a trust account that the daughter can't touch until she's 21. I asked my wife if my wife's name was on the account. She said, "I was there when she opened it," which, what the hell was she thinking? I told her that's identity theft. She said, "No, she gave me the PIN when we opened the account." Okay, that makes no sense. I then checked my email, and my daughter says that my wife used a forged check to take all the money out of her account. The total was indeed $4,500. My daughter says that she has proof the check was forged. I'm thinking that at minimum, my wife can be charged with identity theft, forgery, and fraud. Am I wrong in thinking that this would be a second-class felony under Pennsylvania law because of the amount of money involved? Then OP posted an update. Apparently, there were 4 checks issued to withdraw all the money. A local police department has attempted to contact my wife, but she didn't answer the call because she didn't recognize the number. My wife says that if my daughter files a suit, she'll file a counterclaim for emotional distress in the amount of $5,000. She says she has a therapist who's willing to testify as to the devastating emotional stress my daughter has caused her. She also says that she'll hire an attorney while my daughter will be stuck with a free attorney who doesn't do anything. I've kept my daughter informed, and my daughter is unperturbed by my wife's threats. I've told my daughter that I'll speak to any authority and I will not lie on behalf of any party. I am aware of the fact that my wife needs professional help. Our pastor advised her to seek mental help. Her parents asked her to seek mental help. Her children asked her to seek mental help. I've asked her to seek mental help. She says she's seeing a therapist, but will not provide me with the name and says that she's paying for it out of pocket. I can't force her to get mental help unless she's acutely homicidal or acutely suicidal. If I could go down the block to the courthouse at lunchtime and get her put on a 72-hour hold for being a jerk, I'd do that. Another update. My wife seems shocked that the police would investigate this for free. My wife believes that police investigating a crime is a waste of taxpayer money. My wife now wants to go to family counseling. I told her that our daughter would not agree to that, and she said, then she won't get her money. Then, 13 days later, OP posted an update. The docket sheet has gone up on the Pennsylvania Unified Judicial System website. My wife has not yet been arrested. 3rd-degree felony. Access device issued to another who did not authorize use. Penalty is up to 7 years in prison and or $15,000 in fines. Also, 1st-degree misdemeanor, theft by unlawful taking, movable property. Penalty is up to 5 years in prison and a minimum fine of $1,500 up to $10,000. I'm sure there could have been more charges. Hopefully, they'll let her plead down to some lesser offense, slap her with a hefty fine, and make her pay restitution. Hopefully, she'll learn a lesson. Then, 2 years later, OP posted an update in someone else's thread. So in this update, OP is responding to another user on whatever topic they're talking about. First, you earn that scholarship money, not your mom. Your mom is a controlling, well, it rhymes with ditch. I'm sorry you're going through this. Second, my mom did to our daughter almost the same thing that your mother did to you, and for pretty much the same reason.
There are many kinds of death. Some are better than others.
Once you walk onto that mainland, there's no rescues. Oh. There. In the war.
28 years later, rated R.
Listen to this. 1. No setup needed. Just open your browser and play D&D, Pathfinder, and more. You can create unlimited free characters. 2. Everything is automated. Dice rolls, stat tracking, even lighting effects. Design and play the campaigns you want on our virtual tabletop. And 3. Find your perfect party instantly. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, Roll20 connects you to thousands of players. Ready to roll? Click below and start playing right now for free.
The same reason. Eventually, my wife was charged with a felony and a misdemeanor. I got to pay approximately $4,000 to hire a defense attorney. My daughter got her money back and asked the state to drop the charges, which my wife spun as a victory on her own part. My wife's bad actions were a very serious factor in my decision to file for divorce last year. I can't have my wife trying to control my daughter's lives and expecting me to defend her when she's called out. I would have loved the update to include the wife suing the daughter for emotional distress. Can you imagine that court case? Your Honor, I'm sad because she wouldn't let me steal money from her, so therefore I deserve to steal money from her. What? Our next Reddit post comes from r/teachers. What would you do? 19 students, 5 names. So I'm dealing with a disaster of a roster for an after-school club. I have 19 students, all boys between the ages of 6 and 13, elementary to middle school. There are 5 different first names among them. I have 7 Liams. 2 of them have literally the same first, middle, and last name. I have 5 Noahs. 3 have the same middle name. 2 have a last name that starts with the same letter. I have 3 Mateos. 2 have the same last name and no middle name. And I have 2 Williams. One of which is a William Noah just for fun. I also have 2 Sams. Not Sam, just Sam. The first day, I sat them all down and tried to figure out what we could call them to prevent chaos. It started descending into chaos. Trying to save the afternoon, I told the boys that we could all have special club names. The boys were all for it, so I used a fantasy name generator and let them all pick out mad scientist names. They were thrilled. One of the Mateos especially, because he gets called Big Mateo and he's sensitive about being overweight. Except one of the Liams's moms, of course it's one of the Liamses who has the same first, middle, and last name, is livid. She called the principal and wants his name to remain the same and for me to call all the boys by their actual names. Like, I don't even see how it's possible. Of the 19 kids, none of them except William really lend themselves to nicknames. And with so many repeats and last initials, it'd be like a jigsaw puzzle. Admins are with me on this because the boys are all from different grades, so it really hasn't been an issue overall. But the one parent is trying to start a war over me whitewashing her kids' names. Liam is what? Liam's white. What? I let her know that since the other boys were happy with their mad scientist names, he could be Dr. Liam. She wants me to scratch all the names or she's going to get the district involved. Other parents don't give a hoot because it's after school care. I'm not a full-time teacher, so I don't even know what the heck to do. Then OP posted an update. Buckle up, Buttercup, because this is one wild ride. Tuesday went well. I used Dr. Liam. I contacted the district, who was like, "You're an after-school contractor. Leave us alone." The mom is still being a turd, so I invited her to the club. I have 2 parent volunteers. On Wednesday, she came and sat in the back scowling the entire effing time. A couple of the younger boys were very nutty. I sat them in a corner on the beanbags, gave them a snack, and told them to take a minute. Turns out they were exhausted and both fell asleep. A couple of older boys had some interpersonal issues to work out, and they were off to another corner. One boy called his mom and begged me to let him study. Fine, whatever, the room has 4 corners. The class proceeds with about 11 students actually participating. Eventually, the boys who were dealing with whatever rejoined us, as well as the boy who was studying. Immediately after class, the mom pulled poor Dr. Liam from the class, and 3 of my other students deregistered. This should have been a sign of things to come. Thursday, I came in and get called into the office. There's a lawyer, the mom, and then someone I didn't recognize. They're from Child Protection. It's the stupid mom's friends, apparently. I'm not going to pretend that I'm colorblind or somehow magically immune to noticing race. My students are mostly white. We also have white Hispanics and 2 Asians. The evil mom starts making accusations that I'm name-calling the kids. She didn't approve of the names Professor Calamity or Dr. Demon, and that I forced all the children of color out while I only let the white kids participate. She has photos to, quote, prove it. My sleepy boys were 1 Asian and 1 black Hispanic. The boys who were fighting was 1 dark black Hispanic and 1 tan Hispanic. The study-stressed boy was Asian. The rest of the boys were white passing Hispanic, white, or white passing mixed. Her son, Liam, was very subdued. I honestly hadn't realized the way this occurred. It did look bad from the photos, but in the end, all but the 2 sleepyheads joined in again. The volunteer moms in the group had checked with home, and both parents had said to let the boys sleep. What the hell am I supposed to do? Nobody in the room, except for the terrible mom, was really amused. She thought that she had us over a barrel.
Right, it's $108.
Had us over a barrel. Wasted the entire effing after-school time to hash it out. I'm shaking and ready to quit on the spot. The principal smooths it out. The lawyer assures me we have nothing to worry about. Child Protection was pretty annoyed because the evil mom seemed to make them think that she was exposing some kind of crazy situation. On Friday, I go in to find a reporter and a camera. I let them know that they had better not publish any footage because the mom didn't have permission to take the footage. I got the principal involved, who called the lawyer, and again, we wasted most of the time sorting this out. However, since this mom posted on all the town boards on neighborhoods and Facebook and whatever effing else she could find, things ended up working out and biting her in the butt. 3 parents pulled their boys on Wednesday because they aligned with that mom. On Friday afternoon, after I got in, I discovered I have 5 girl besties from grade 4 who want to come in. And since the cap is 20 students, I'm really happy to have them. It's not the best balance, but 1/4 is closer to my normal 1/3. My head is still spinning, and I don't think I could think of any more drama than what's already occurred. I'm looking forward to Monday with the new kids and a fresh slate. I'm going to combine 2 phrases here. This is not a hill worth dying on, and don't make a mountain out of a molehill. To a new phrase, this is not a molehill worth dying over. What the hell is wrong with this mom? And moreover, I feel really bad for Liam. When you're a teenage boy just trying to fit in, this is a terrible parent to have, making giant county-wide issues over absolutely nothing. Maybe this is Dr. Liam's mad scientist origin story. He wants to make a giant space laser that will eliminate all terrible Karens from the world. People are calling him Liam Squared. This next post sounds very dull, I'll admit, but it has a mood spoiler, and the mood spoiler is WTF, so I'm guessing it gets good at the end. Am I the butthole for not letting my coworkers stay at my place even though I have the space? So I'm a 23-year-old woman who lives alone in a small 2-bedroom house. One room is mine, the other one is basically my everything room. My office, my closet, my storage. Sometimes I just lay on the floor in there and stare at the ceiling when life sucks. Lol. It is not a guest room. I've lived with horrible roommates before, so I worked really hard to be able to afford my own place. I love having my space. It's literally my safe room. Anyways, one of my coworkers, a 25-year-old woman, got into a huge fight with her roommates, and they kicked her out. She was venting at work, and I felt bad and was like, that sucks, OMG, and even sent her a few places to look at. I was trying to be helpful without inviting chaos into my life, you know? Later that night, she texts me saying, hey, I was thinking I could just crash with you for a week, since you live alone and have the space. I literally got that sinking feeling in my chest. No. I'm not even close to her. We're cool at work, but we never even hung out outside of lunch breaks and complaining about our boss. She doesn't know anything about me, and I don't know her like that. Why would you live in my house? So I replied super politely, like, I totally get that you're going through it, but I really value my space, and I'm just not in a place where I can have someone stay with me. Like, I was nice. I didn't ghost her, didn't ignore her, just said no. Next day, she's acting really weird. Then, another coworker told me she said that I let her be homeless when I have an entire room to myself. Like, girl, first of all, she's staying at her boyfriend's place. Second of all, I pay to live alone. That's the whole point. I don't want to feel tense or uncomfortable in my own space. I don't want to tiptoe around a person I barely know. And I definitely don't want to deal with just a few weeks turning into, I'm looking also, no. Then, the next day, Opie posted an update. She went to jail, lol. I don't know what happened, but I feel horrible to say that I laughed. Well, solves that issue. Also, I have to highlight my favorite comment, and this is Opie speaking, not r/. Go up to the people that had something to say and tell them they're horrible for not bailing her out. And r/'s favorite comment is this one. So, win-win. OP kept her space, and the coworker got a place to stay. I love these happy endings. That was r/best of Redditor updates, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.
Hey, you 5, get back over here. You're not going near my town. Oh my god, there's a whole lot of enemies. Gotta get a tower up ASAP. Okay, cool. Just save the town from mass destruction. There's a whole other line of enemies. How are we gonna take care of that? They're getting close to the town. Get rid of them. Get another tower up fast. Come on. Woo, okay, just save the town. That should be able to take them, but we can't handle that for much longer. Gotta get another tower up. There's a 3rd tower. Let's get a 4th tower up because we got the extra cash, and then we should be able to send out a whole line against them, and then we can clean them up. This is K-Shot, a brand new tower defensive strategy game with absolutely 0 ads. When enemies are closing in, you can decide how you want to defend your territory. Build towers, upgrade defense, recruit powerful heroes. Every decision is up to you. This game is seriously so immersive and rich with details. I think that's worth the download. Welcome to r/petty revenge, where a food thief pukes his guts out. You keep this, love. It was a small business. A max of 10 people were in the office at the same time, so when someone was stealing food from the fridge, people noticed it fairly quickly. However, the thief was the owner's son. Now, the owner was known for nicking food, but at least he would pay you back. Sometimes.
His son, who was about 20, did not, and was also a dick about it, and most of the people were getting fed on.
Hello?
What you doing?
Nothing right now. What are you doing?
Oh, headed to Kyrie's game. I texted you earlier just to check in because I hadn't talked to you in a couple days.
Yeah. And I've just been sitting here playing my game.
Yeah, I'm hot as fuck out.
Yeah, I know. I was out dashing this morning.
It's still like 96 degrees right now.
No.
Are you going out after a while, or?
Yeah, I think I probably will.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say if you could, before you get busy, here in a little while, go and check on Zachary because he's by himself. We just left though, so he'll be alright for a while, but maybe just check in on him.
Alright.
I filled up both of his drinks and stuff, so he should be alright, but I'm just a little worried because he's, one minute he seems a little confused. He's been fine for the most part the last few days, but just a little bit of confusion here and there, like he's trying to fight off an episode. Please. Did she ever tell you what time you gotta be there next week and stuff, or not yet?
No, I'm gonna call her tomorrow. Just 'cause.
Alright,
I wanted to give her enough time to make sure she actually got everything right.
Right.
So, I'm gonna call her tomorrow and figure that out.
Okay, well, I guess I will let you go.
Okay, good day.
There's, I had a brain fart. I meant to text you last night and it was so crazy that I forgot, but, if you wanted some, there's ham. We had ham last night. There's a bunch left in the fridge. And then, tonight, of course, none of us have eaten yet, but I've got beef in the crock pot if you want to come over later tonight and get the leftovers.
Oh, we just had beef too.
Yeah, well, you don't have to. I just thought I'd try to tell you when I make it.
Yeah, I might get it. I don't know. We might have finished what I made by now. Been a couple days.
If you get ham, just leave me a couple pieces. I want to make some scrambled eggs and ham. And if you don't want it, that's fine too. I'm sure Zachary will eat it. Okay. Good day. Be careful.
Good day.
Yeah.
Shut up, Dinky.
this knuckle and everything here all really fucking hurts. No, I went piss and I fucking smacked my hand into the bathroom door handle. Hard as fuck. I was talking to Avery, so I wasn't paying attention, and I took a stride in, and so I like swung my arm out to like push open the door, and I was just gonna like, but I instead I fucking smacked it right to the.
Yeah, the seahorse.
Got it.
Shut up, ho. Like my truck? Oh, it actually has lane mode too. I didn't even realize that. Unfortunately, dynamic mirrors do not work with this mod. Kind of sucks for the games. And the finish. I guess they actually have good shoes because it was a free. Oh what? There's our go potty thingy. Oh what? There's our go potty thingy. here, Stinky. Oh, Daddy sees his maid. Daddy sees his maid. Let's go potty. Come on. Come on, let's go. 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 Okay. Go lay down. What? Any drink? Here we go. Maybe a little drinky drink.
met up. So one day, I brought coloring liquid from home, which my wife used to make blue treats, cake, and ice cream for our kids. He was always stealing my dairy products, and I thought the blue would make it less appealing. I almost forgot about it until my coworker was fuming that someone had eaten almost all of her cottage cheese, and that she didn't have enough for herself. So I asked her if she was willing to sacrifice what was left, sprinkled a few blue drops in there, went to the culprit and said, "Dude, were you eating this? It's gone bad. You can't eat this. How did you not notice?" I could hardly finish my sentence because he threw up all over his desk and himself, violently for all to see. The blue spots in the leftovers I showed him did look rather dramatic. Our next Reddit post is from Workshop Joe. I'm a 42-year-old man, and my ex-wife is 44. We were married for almost 20 years. Over that time, she had 4 affairs of varying degrees, including a sexual relationship with a very close friend of mine from our church. I tried to make it work, and after the last emotional affair, I couldn't do it anymore. I filed for divorce just over 2 years ago. We're still going through the divorce, and she's been a high conflict the whole time. She's painted herself as a victim, and I go to a new church, but I still have some friends at my old one. I attended there for over 30 years.
Want to save on fuel and keep your fleet's expenses in line? Fuel up with confidence using A to B Flex.
My old one. I attended there for over 30 years. So my girlfriend and I have been dating since January. She's aware of my situation, and we're having fun. I have older kids and she has younger kids. For Labor Day, we both had the day off and wanted to do something fun. I mentioned that my old church does a picnic every year at a park. There are games and activities for the kids and a big potluck barbecue. I told her my ex would likely be there, but it's a big event and we could keep to ourselves.
What,
I'd
David?
also be able to introduce my girlfriend to friends from my old church. My girlfriend made sure she was extra cute, that we had matching socks, and I wore a shirt that said, "Built for Conflict" on the back. We got to the barbecue. My girlfriend made a dessert to share, and I was grilling. My ex saw us and looked beside herself. She eventually came over, tapped my girlfriend on the shoulder and said, "I'm such and such, OP's wife." My girlfriend said, "Nice to meet you," and then held out her hand to shake my ex's hand. My ex then said, "It's awkward for you to be here, and I hope you feel that way." My girlfriend responded, "Okay," and my ex walked off. Later, my ex approached me and said, "This isn't your church anymore. I think you should leave." I said, "Not gonna happen," and kept walking. She went back to her friends, which were my old friends, and was just distraught. She eventually asked the pastor to ask me to leave. He's my best friend and was the best man at my wedding. He came and talked to me so that he could tell her that he did. I told him that she needed to grow up and that I wasn't leaving. He went back to my ex, and she was unhinged, trying to say that we had to leave. She tried to make it some spiritual thing. Eventually, she gave up and went to the friend that she had an affair with and his wife to be comforted. They're still friends. I don't get it. My girlfriend and I just watched. My ex has been terrible this whole time, and never controlled her. She thought she had was destroyed. Everyone watched as she just acted like a witch. We smiled and waved. In the end, the kids had fun, we got to catch up with old friends, and my ex-wife got put in her place. It was a good day. Side note, my girlfriend is stunning, and several people just stopped with a dumbfounded look on their face when they saw her. It was such a flex to people who want to see me again. Oh man, the real gem of this story is down in the comments. Sid Manley says, her pants came off with another married guy, yet she's Jalika. Wow, and no mere flies. It's actually insane. Our old friend group is aware of the affair, and they would rather keep the status quo than deal with reality. My ex-wife told the pastor, my friend, that I should leave the barbecue because I was in sin. That since me and her aren't legally divorced yet, she says that I'm committing adultery. You can't make this stuff up. Well, technically she is true. You are a married man sleeping with another woman. That being said, I don't think anyone with half a brain would actually think that OP is the bottom, and not the 4-time cheater who actually started the whole thing. Our next Reddit post is from Wessel Pump. This happened a couple of years ago when my wife and I were moving out of our previous apartment. So moving day comes, the landlord shows up, and we walk through the whole apartment with him to hand it over. Even though we had some minor complaints, in the end, he agrees to refund the deposit in full, and we part on good terms. A couple of days pass, and we get a long, angry voicemail claiming he was renovating and noticed that the room that was my former office smells extremely bad. Claiming that our password discover that where we live, if a landlord doesn't formally claim a reason for holding back a deposit within 6 months at the end of the lease, they are by law required to refund it. So I figure that revenge is a dish best served cold, and we just need to wait it out for another 3 months or so, and after that, it's our turn. I calculate the exact date when the 6 months have passed, and 1 day later, just message him to please refund the deposit within 2 weeks. He just replies, sure, buddy. So we then we sent a letter setting the second date. Again, nothing happened. I was actually hoping for that point. So we hire an attorney and let her collect the money on our behalf. The landlord starts claiming all kinds of ridiculous damages, which would let him keep the deposit, which the attorney simply dismisses as the time for claims has passed. For some reason, he pays only 80% or so of the amount due. So the attorney has to get at it again to get the full amount. Apparently, he's not realizing that all of this is incurring hourly costs for the attorney, which he also has to pay, as he's legally liable to refund. So in the end, he pays us the full deposit, interest, and a massive bill for our lawyer, far higher than deposits. Needless to say, we're happy with the outcome. Once everything is settled, my wife and I sat in our new home, had a glass of wine, and spend the deposits. I know from reading lots and lots of revenge stories, and also from the comments of this post, that in a lot of states, landlords are liable for triple damages in these cases. So if they don't refund your $1,000 deposit, then you can get $3,000 back. So to all you renters out there, I strongly encourage you to read up on your local renters laws. Who knows, your current landlord might pay off a couple months rent for your next apartment, or next rental is from front restaurant. My mom has self-diagnosed that I had developmental disorders and autism since I was 7. There were always books like Developmental Disorders Kids Learning Games and How to Take Care of Autistic Kids. I thought that was pretty weird because I was doing fine in school and I was taking good care of myself in my daily life. I got good grades, made friends, and even knew a ton of vocabulary for a second grader. Fast forward to when I was 17, we went to an actual doctor and told her that wasn't true. But she didn't stop it. She kept telling me things like, you shouldn't go to vet school because you're autistic. You should listen to modern music because that's how you make friends. You and your brother suck at video games because you're autistic and have developmental disorders. When she brought up the garbage of you suck at video games because you have autism again, I started Elden Ring, handed her the controller and said, if you suck at this game, then you must have developmental disabilities. She couldn't even figure out how to jump or attack, even though I taught her so many times. She got so frustrated and started screaming. She hasn't dared to bring up this complete nonsense ever since. And started screaming. She hasn't dared to bring up this complete nonsense ever since. I like this top comment from Zorad. You can always get her back by leaving books on early onset dementia and nursing home pamphlets around the house. And Obi replies, I'm getting those books for her now. Also, this sounds like it might be Munchausen's by proxy, which is when someone says that another person in their life is sick because they like the attention. Our next Reddit post is from Canadian Skeptic, eh? This woman named Christine used to have my phone number 3 years ago. Clearly, she didn't want the baggage in her life to follow her to the new number. Debt collectors, old flames, male and female. She was prolific, if nothing else, and others. I can understand this, and Christine, I hope your new life is better today. You're giving them motivation to hate you and the means by which to make your life miserable. So just update your number so you don't have to deal with psychopaths like OP. Dude, imagine losing your job and then not being able to pay rent or buy groceries because some guy texted on Back in 2009, I was at a conference where I was introduced to a well-known, established man in the same field as me. Our mutual friend introduced me as someone with over 10 years of experience. I had recently completed a master's degree and was the only woman and the only person under 40 on a panel discussion at the conference. I extended my hand to shake his, and he turned away and sneered that he had more experience than I had years alive. I'd never met him before, and I have no idea why he held such animosity against me. Fast forward 15 years. I have a job in a large agency that hires contractors to complete some of our objectives that we lack capacity to do internally. The guy I met at the conference has been considered on several contracts, and I've told the story of his arrogance and how I won't work with him. He did not get those contracts. He likely has no idea, and maybe he wouldn't care. Still, it feels good. We had a similar story from back in the 50s. I worked for the college that I was attending. I caught a coworker, another student, stealing goods donated to charity. She got suspended from school for a year, so graduated a year behind me. For revenge, she accused me of stuff I didn't do. I was clear to all of it, but still made the rest of my school year count. Fast forward a couple of years. around me. She can do it all she wants when I'm not in the room. I just can't deal with hearing it anymore. Then, 11 hours later, Opie posted an update. After my girlfriend got home from work and had a chance to catch her breath and settle in, I sat her down and we had a really good conversation. Here's the short version. She told me advice on what she months pregnant. I believe this needs to change. He shared that Pam and his partners are part of his new family because he's had to move away from his family because of me. That I said that it was okay for him to spend this time with them, and I can't just change my mind. That's unfair. That he's willing to spend more time with me, but then something else needs to happen. Either chores for him or me adjusting my work schedule. That he thinks I'm overly sensitive and I'm only worried because Pam's relationships are open and my insecurities are something I should deal with in individual therapy. I'm really not sure what a compromise looks like, and counseling seems to just cause us to entrench more. I'm wondering what advice anyone out there might have. Down in the comments, OP clarifies that the shared hobby is Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering. Then, almost 3 years later, OP posted an update. It's been a while. Our little boy is 2.5 now. Thank you to everyone who commented. It was the kick in the butt I needed to lay down the law. Especially the folks that rightly pointed out that I was a passive doormat without self-respect. That stung, but was true. After my post, I had a big sit-down with John on the things that I was upset about. My husband was traveling to be a groomsman for a good friend. I told him to stay out there for an additional week and decide, 1, if he wanted to stay married and wanted to be a family. 2, effing regret going there now. It was my girlfriend's idea to go. She had brought it up a few times when she was drunk, but I always brushed it off. Now, last week, she brought it up again, sober this time. She wanted to go to a strip club together with me, and it had been on her mind for a long time. She said she was super curious. So yesterday, we went there together after lots of talking and making sure that she was okay. We didn't have any rules. Anything that happens, we would discuss while we were there, and we would only do stuff that we were both okay with. So we arrive and just chill at the bar for a bit. We watch from a distance. She then asked me if she could buy a dance. I'm cool with this, and we picked out a girl together, and she gets a dance. She's enjoying it. The girl seemed to like it, obviously, and to be honest, I thought that it was really hot. We talked for a while with her until she needs to go to stage. Now my girlfriend says that I should get a dance too. I'm hesitant, but asked her if this was okay with her, and she assured me she was. I just sit down, and my girlfriend goes looking for a girl and comes back with a pretty brunette. This is relevant. She buys me a dance, and I am sort of enjoying it, still feeling a little bit nervous with my girlfriend around, but her eyes were glued to us, and she was smiling. The girl puts my hands on her body, and I look at my girlfriend, and she nods. When it's finished, we start talking again, and the girl asks my name. I tell her, and guess what? We used to know each other. She's the younger sister of an old friend of mine, like 6 years back. I had only seen her a few times at my friend's house, and we met briefly. I didn't recognize her. She used to be blonde, and it never once crossed my mind that it could be her. So she's all excited and whatnot. But I see that my girlfriend is pissed. So shortly after we got out of there, saying goodbye. As soon as we're outside, she's mad. I swear to her that I didn't recognize the stripper, but my girlfriend isn't buying it and keeps asking about our history. Wants to check my phone because the girl was too flirty at a strip club and was too comfortable around me, and she already felt like something was off. And she tells me that we were playing an act. And when I get home, I get a face request from the stripper right when my phone is on the table, and this pisses her off even more. She